She got organic water.
I got organic coconut water, original, not from concentrate, no sugar added.
And she was making snake faces thinking of that too. She was making snake faces like,
I don't drink coconut
culture.
water.
Culture.
I don't drink coconut water, but I'm drinking coconut water today because I need to be hydrated.
Today, yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. Hi.
Welcome to Shaping the Culture. Episode
4.
Malaika and Drew. Episode 4, Shaping the Culture. Thank you for tuning in again or for tuning in for the first time. We know that we have probably some new viewers or subscribers. Hopefully we have new subscribers and stuff like that.
Shout out to y'all, yes.
Some subscribers on y'all low-key coming through. Yeah. Our little numbers going up.
Did we hit 100 hit?
I don't think so.
Viewers?
I don't think so. Oh, viewers?
Views.
We're close. I think our very first
96,
video has like 96. Yeah.
Come on, get us to 100. Just look at all of them and just let them play. Put them in playlist.
I mean, really? Because like y'all listen to podcasts, you can just put us on
let them play and just let it
marinate your soul. See?
Let it.
We really appreciate you guys. We really appreciate all the people who have viewed the videos and who've been supporting. I've got comments, and I know Drew's gotten comments in his own personal life or whatever, but I just had somebody last night come to me and be like, oh my gosh, I really am enjoying the show. What? And I didn't even tell him.
Crazy.
But it's exciting. It's exciting to know that the people that are watching are really being affected by it positively, and they're just enjoying the content. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching, and we're gonna get into episode 4.
Alright, so this is the section How You Feel, where we are going to talk about hot button issues, or we try to talk about hot button issues, whether it's in the culture, just what else we feel like talking about. And we had stuff on the slate, but we changed our mind.
Got to the back burner.
To the back burner.
You heard the noise?
Yeah. Okay.
It's on the back burner. Like that other content is on the back burner.
So yeah, we had content, and then Malaika was like, it's not authentic enough. We should talk about what we've been talking about. And what have we been talking about? We've
been talking about what to do when your belief systems don't line up with your homies. Pretty much when you and your friends don't believe the same, when y'all don't share the same viewpoints. Can you be friends with somebody who doesn't believe like you? Does it cause tension? How to make it not be awkward and cause tension? How to have an adult conversation about not believing the same. And one reason why I did want to talk about this and why I said the other topics weren't as authentic is because me and Drew have had to face some of that in our own relationship. Just like, the core of what we believe is pretty much the same, generally the same. But, there's just a couple things where we're like, oh, we don't really see eye to eye on that. So we just wanted to talk about something that's actually authentic to us that we can share with you guys and let you know, like, hey, like we actually go through the same thing too. Yeah,
like confrontation isn't my strong, and I don't really think it's confrontation like when you're dealing with adults. I think like our childhood gets into our heads like, oh, we don't want to offend anybody, oh, we don't want to whatever, but it's like we're adults, so you don't, and it's like 2 points, like on one side it's like you don't want everybody that believes, like sees the world the same way you do, right? But then on the other side you want people to see the world the same way like that you do in some certain ways, but everybody's an adult, there's billions of people on this planet, everybody's not going to believe the exact same thing, that's why you got 30,000 denominations. 30,000 denominations?
It's seriously, like it actually is?
I heard the preacher say it's 30,000 denominations.
Dang, who all we be believing? It'd be
like what Jesus y'all got? Like
y'all got 30,000 different
Jesuses? Like so I think it is important that you guys don't run away from the issue, not issues, but the fact that you don't believe the same as your friends. You want to make sure that the core is still there, because that's what what matters. What are some ways, like what do you do when your beliefs don't line up with your friends? What are some things that that are there that you have to think about, or that you do make sure to keep the peace or whatever?
I can say the first thing I do, I try not to have like unnecessary conversations about like religion or like whatever the issue is. So like I think what some people do wrong is they really try to hash it out like too much to where it's like we don't believe the same, so let's talk about why we don't believe the same and let's try to make each other believe the way we believe. And it's like sometimes it's easier to just be quiet. Like sometimes I've had some of my friends where they'll say something that I didn't necessarily agree with, and I'm just like, okay. Drew can tell you, I'll be like, my literal phrase is, okay. That was interesting. And I'll say, that was interesting, yeah. Because I'm not, like, one thing I don't want to do is cause, like, confrontation.
Yeah.
You know, so what I'll do is just, like, listen. And sometimes it's more insightful, actually, most times, it's more insightful to listen to why that person believes the way they believe, and then things honestly start to make a little more sense. Even if you never believe like that, at least you'll understand your friend better, or you'll understand like, oh, okay, well, I don't agree with this, but this is why they believe what they believe, and so now I can either accept it or I can do it, you know, whatever I want with that information. But yeah, I try not to have unnecessary conversations about like heavy hitter issues.
And sometimes you can't help it at the end of the day, because you are adults, you still want to like try to avoid unnecessary conversations, but then you just skim right over it. So with that being said, is it just faith with you that's like with you and your friends, like I don't think we don't all know the same people, so with you and your friends, is it just like faith beliefs that are different, or is it like a lot of stuff? Or like what do you feel like are like the top 3 things that's just like, okay, it's kind of faith-based normally. It's usually about like just little things with like, I don't know, like little doctrine things. Like me and Drew have had a conversation about that, just like, oh, okay, well, you see it this way, I see it this way. So I would say it's mostly faith-based. Church home is another thing. I have a lot of friends that I used to go to church with that I don't go to church with anymore. And so it's like sometimes that whole thing of like, I felt in the past that some of my friends have come back to the church I go to now and have kind of criticized, and I'm like, bruh, but I don't go to your church and talk weird about your church. So it's like, and you know, it's stuff like that I try to stay away from. Some of it I could probably talk about a little more, just because you don't want to feel silenced in a way, because you have a right to believe how you believe. So that
I do
ties
think
in with what we were actually talking about, how I believe. But like, you should feel confident about what you believe in. And so I think it's okay to like state how you feel, or state like, hey, I wasn't necessarily happy about the way you talk about my church, or I wasn't necessarily happy with the way that you said this about my doctrine, or something like that. Like, it's okay to talk about that. I think it's just like a respect thing too. Like,
that's the biggest point.
You have to be respectful, because it's just like, you don't know, you don't know how people are gonna react, and you don't know especially if you don't know that person like that well enough, you don't want to say the wrong thing. So it's definitely a respect issue.
When it comes to respect, right? Why do you think it's important to have respect for other people's beliefs, like when you don't believe the same way? Like,
I think it goes down to like the faith that you believe in. Like, Jesus wouldn't want you, just because you don't see the same way as somebody else, he wouldn't want you to try to go off with their head, like, believe the same. It's kind of like that meme where it was like 2 people arguing, and then Jesus pulls the guy, like, I called you to win souls, I called you to win souls, not arguments, type of deal. With this situation, when it comes to you not believing the same as your friends, you don't want to argue. Like, I've had people like this dude that I work with that doesn't believe the same as me, and we got into arguments or whatever, and it's just like, that's not, the enemy's looking at us and like laughing, because it's just like, you're wasting your time trying to argue whose doctrine is what and what you really believe. And it's like, you care about that person's soul, but it's just like, care about that person's soul enough to pray for them and walk away, and not want to just go off with their head, because it's just like, you're wasting time. You, instead of trying to talk to or witness to somebody else in your job, you're just sitting there talking to them. You're just sitting there talking to them and trying to argue with them because you really care about being right. I think it's another thing too. You have to, that's a good one. You have to not care about being right all the time.
Yeah. I mean, because like you were saying before, that's not even your job. Your job is not to make someone believe like you. You have your own personal convictions, and if you find a group of people that shares that, that's cool too. But it's kind of like, it's not your job to like transform people, you know? And let's say that what you're believing is correct and the truth and all that. And I know there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into religion and absolute truths and stuff like that. But on the most basic level, let's say that what you're believing is right. You know, like if you say, okay, don't walk out in the street because you're going to get hit. Okay, that's the truth. You know, if you walk out in the street, you're going to get hit. But I feel like we're at a day and time where it's like, you honestly have to let some people get hit. Like, just let them. It's not your job to say, okay, you can do as much as you can to prevent it. You can warn people strongly. You can yell it. You can yell as far as in, like, if it was a life or death situation and you're really like, bruh, I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's on people to make their own decisions. And I think having that mentality when it comes to like respect and all the stuff we were just talking about is super important, because it's like, no, I'm not in charge of your life. I'm not in control of your life. Even as my friend, even as my mom, my brother, my sister, if I've done all that I can do to show you why I believe what I believe and you still don't accept it, that's on you, and it's okay. And we can hang out, we can do surface level stuff. Sometimes you just have to have like surface level friends where it's like, no, we just go bowling.
You can't
like,
get
like, we can't go to church.
I need to know about my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Type deal.
And as far as like when it comes to Christianity, because I know there could be a lot of people watching with a ton of different beliefs who don't even believe in God or whatever. But when it comes to Christianity, I just want to encourage people who are Christians, like, at the end of the day, it's on God to fix people, to change people. And so if you feel like, well, but the way I believe is true and God's supposed to come in and change, it's like, yeah, God is supposed to do the work. So like you said, pray for them, consistently pray for them. Make sure you're sharing the love of God with them, because that's one thing that we lose sight of, is actually showing love and compassion towards people. We're just trying to like be right. Like, no, my Bible says this, versus like, you know, I know that you've been hurt. I know you've been hurt by the church. I know that you've been hurt by all kind of stuff. And so let me just show what God would want me to show, and that's love. For all the other religions, I can't help y'all. I love Jesus.
But I had a point kind of pop up, because I remember a while back you want to talk about cancel culture. And I think like this kind of, not sort of that, you know, when you believe differently than somebody, it may want you in the back of your head, you may want to force to cancel on them. How important is it not to cancel on somebody, or just cancel them out of your life when they don't believe the same? Not even just talking about just with faith stuff. Well, you know, or is with faith, is that the biggest thing? That's the only thing that you would like, is that the only cutting off? Like, if somebody believed in abortion, like I know somebody that believes in it. I know somebody that believes in it. I'm just like, how do you, like, it doesn't have a heartbeat. I'm like, but still, bro. Yeah. You know. Type deal.
So how do you not cancel people out of your life for just not believing the same as you? So I think it's levels to this. I think if it starts affecting your spiritual environment, if you start to feel under attack, whatever you believe, because I know there's some people who believe in opening chakras and auras and stuff, and those people are quick to say, you're messing up my vibe. Like, my everything is messed up. So and that's not even me like trying to like roast or nothing. That's just true. I know that those people are like quick to say, no, y'all can't come in my space, because it's seriously messing me up spiritually. And I feel like it's the same for whatever you believe. If you believe in the dirt and the sky and that's what you worship, and someone comes in and they're messing that up, that's on you to say, okay, hey, this is bothering me. And so I feel like, if I can only speak from being a Christian, if someone comes in the room and my spirit is like disturbed, or I feel like you got something on you that's gonna bother me, I'll quickly distance myself. I'll be like, hey, I'll see you later. Like, I'll catch you on the flip side, you know, because it's something that I don't want to like disrupt like my inner peace, or like, I don't know, you know, just being sensitive and aware. If it's something to where it's like surface, where it's just like, oh no, we just believe differently. I don't.
And then I think too, like I heard somebody told me this a while back. You have friends that are outside the gate. You have friends that are inside the gate. Some that are on the porch. Some that are in the living room. And then there's only one person in the bedroom. So, and that kind of deal when it comes to certain friends, just as this is like a life lesson I always hold with me, period, outside of y'all believing the same or us believing the same, is that certain people, regardless of whatever you believe, there's certain people that are meant to be in your house, in your living room, eating your food, and then some people supposed to be on the porch or outside or down the street You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Right.
So.
Because I know there's certain people that
you ain't getting in the house.
y'all ain't getting on my street. Like, you can't go on my street.
Yeah.
You can't stand in front of my house. You can't peep in the window.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some people that's like, nah, we can chill outside. You can't come in, but we can chill outside. That's fine. So yeah, I think if it's one of those things where it's really starting to affect you, like spiritually, or you're like just really disturbed, yeah, you gotta get canceled. Like, we can't hang out, I can't talk to you, whatever. And I would always tell the person, if I was in a situation like that, like, it's not you, it's just, I just can't allow that in my space. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't.
How important is it to have the right people in your space, you know, when it's like messing up your energy? I know we don't believe in none of that chakra stuff, but and dealing with, you know, vibes and not throwing your spirit off. How important is it to have people around you that don't mess with that energy and that you vibe well with?
I think it's very important to have people that believe the same as you. How can I put this? I feel like if it's to the point where someone is really throwing off like your insides, or like, I don't know, they carry like a bad energy or whatever, however you want to take that. If it's something like that, I feel like it's almost impossible to be friends with them, like to have them in your inner circle, because it's like y'all, it's not even the fact that y'all don't believe the same. It's like, no, y'all don't mesh. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's two totally different like energies going on. So I feel like when it comes to that, you can't have them in your inner circle. I feel like when it comes to inner circles, it does have to be people that you pretty much believe the same with. Even though there's always going to be little like nuances and stuff, but for the most part, I think it's very important to keep in your inner circle people who do believe the same as you.
And not forcing it either. Like, I know a lot of times for the sake of faith and for the sake of believing, like, for a long time, I didn't want to, like, block nobody. I thought it's unchristian to block somebody.
I'm all about that blocking.
I didn't find it out until, like, last year. I'm like, okay, so I felt free. I felt like a weight was lifted off of me. I'm like, okay, well, it was, I guess it was a good thing, like God is, because I think a lot of times too, when it gets away, when we talk about friendships and relationships, I think a lot of times we're too on our head about what would Jesus do in that situation. Like, we should wanna follow after Jesus and mimic and admire, you know, and try to, you know, implement. But at the same time, we're in our head like, is this the Christian like thing to do? Like, when it comes to blocking or keeping people on as your friends, because I'm supposed to love one another, but it's like, this person really pisses me off.
I can see that. I can see that.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, this person really pisses me off, or we don't really like, and it's like you can get to a place where you're forcing the whole friendship or forcing the whole relationship when it's not even there, ain't nothing but a thread there. But for the sake of your relationship with Christ, you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep you on because I'll feel bad if I cut you off. And it's just like, it's okay to cut somebody off, you know what I'm saying? You definitely want to pray about it first, but it's okay to definitely cut somebody off.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. You shouldn't stay in a relationship, any type of relationship, because you feel like bad about, I don't know. I get what you're saying.
Like you feel bad about it. Like, I've been in situations where I'm like, I've left something and I'm like, dang, bro, was it the right thing? I feel bad or whatever, because it's like you see the other side. They're not bothered by it.
Yeah, because I think like what you were saying as far as, you know, what would Jesus do? I don't know. Jesus. I feel like Jesus had a perfect like loving from a.
Nature. We talked about this.
This like man flipped tables. My sister said that the other day, and I was like, you know, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that you use that as an excuse for like just acting however you want, but I feel like he understood the importance of like, no, you're really causing stress in my life, so you can stay over there. I'm gonna die for you. That's cool. You're already cool. I'm dying for you. That's straight. But like, we ain't like partners. You know what I'm saying? Like, you not rocking with me. So I do understand that. I feel like you shouldn't, whatever you do, you just need to feel sure, like within yourself. Just know, like, okay, I'm doing this for my mental health. I'm doing this for my spiritual health. Not like, oh, I can't cut this person off because I'm supposed to walk in love. Like, sometimes walking in love is cutting off people. Like, if you're getting abused,
that's a word.
If you're getting abused,
that's a word.
You need to love yourself enough. You need to walk in love with yourself enough. Walk in love with that person enough to say no. We're like toxic for each other.
That's a word, bro. Like that's a word. And I had to learn that. That's like it's not difficult to learn sometimes.
Facts.
Like because like I said, you in your head you're thinking about being Christian and like is
like
this the right
do
thing?
It, like being like
in action. Yeah. But it's just like no, you're walking in love by me, not by us, not you know what I'm saying, like by me not avoiding my coworker, but by us not engaging in that conversation, I'm walking in love because I don't want to create strife. Correct. There shouldn't be strife between two people or even two Christians and stuff like that. So with that, does it help? With that being said, like does it help or hinder to have people that believe differently than you? And I think like, and I'll start off like I think that it's both. I think it helps in the sense to challenge you. You want people that believe, you know, the core things or whatever, but I think it's definitely good to have people that challenge you on your belief, that don't see the world the same way as you do, because it, you know what I'm saying, because there's plenty of different beliefs, there's plenty of different cultures. Like you go to a different country, they look at the world a totally different way, and you come back to your country, you're like, man, wow, I'm gonna adopt that into my into my way of thinking, not your theology, but my way of thinking.
Yeah, I think it's both as well. I think it goes back to the illustration that you gave earlier, as far as like some people are in the house, some people are on the front porch, some people are just on the curb of the side of the house. Because it's like the people that don't believe like you can definitely challenge your beliefs, but they can also shore up your beliefs and make you understand why you believe what you believe. So like when you're exposed to something that you might not necessarily believe, it helps you to understand like, no, that's why I don't follow that. And not in a critical way of like, oh, I'm going to criticize the person. Just take a mental note of like, no, that's why I believe what I believe. I think it's important to be able to have those hard conversations with people who don't believe like you, because like you said, the world is so diverse. You know what I'm saying? And if you are a Christian and you plan on affecting any type of change, you're going to face people that don't believe like you. And it's like, if you don't get comfortable talking to people that have different beliefs,
how you gonna win a soul?
Exactly, because that's all you're doing. You're going into other people's world, every man's world. You're going into all kind of stuff that you might not be comfortable with. But I feel like that's what Jesus did. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just out there with
and I was thinking
all kind of people.
I was thinking about that the other day too, like when just random people just walk up to you and start talking to you, and it throws you off. You're like, that person weird, but it's just like, if Jesus was here, you know, he would walk in love, right? And you know what I'm saying, and not saying that other person offended you, but dealing with weird situations, stuff that you come in contact with people, and it's just like you want to win souls. I have to tell myself that all the time when I run into people, like just talking to you off the street, and it's just like, bro, you live right here. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to go in the hood. Don't be scared to go wherever you're going. You know, be safe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it's not to say like don't use wisdom, and it's not to say that these people get to be in your inner circle, because your inner circle is supposed to edify you. They're supposed to build you up. They're supposed to cover you. You know what I'm saying? So if you believe in God and someone is an atheist, y'all can't be in an inner circle. Like, that's not going to work. So because I'm like, I know people that have friends that don't necessarily believe in God. I think it's cool. Like, you can interact with them, but there's no way in the world I'm gonna have an atheist in my inner circle, because we don't even see eye to eye. So how am I gonna express my problems to you when I'm like, no, I need to pray about it, and they're like, well, I don't pray to anything. It's like, it don't line up. So it's not even that you're being rude. It's just like, no, we just don't mesh. Now we can go bowling and
so what's the cutoff? So if you got an atheist friend, or I wouldn't even really call him my friend, an associate.
Someone I know.
But I'm saying, so the level for people that don't believe the same as you, they're not getting, but you go bowling with them. Because that wouldn't be uncomfortable them, because it's like, I've been in a situation, I'm just like, man, like, I'm not necessarily not knowing that person was an atheist, but you don't know what they believe, like, and you're hanging out with people that don't believe that, but you're conscious of your witness or whatever, because it's just like, I've been in situations where I wouldn't say 3 against 1, but in situations where it's like more people that you don't know who believe the same like you, and it's just like one person that does with you and you're out. It's like, how does that affect your witness? How does that, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, as long as they're not doing nothing like,
you make sure you wouldn't put yourself in no crazy situation.
Yeah, like, okay, I've been in a situation where I felt like it was about to get weird spiritually, like we're about to sit down and do a seance. I'm gonna get my butt up and leave. Like, that's not hanging out. At that point, now you're inviting me into whatever you believe spiritually that I don't agree with. So no, I'm not gonna stay and talk to this Ouija board. I'm about to leave, because I don't play with demons. Like,
at all.
I'm not. Like, I don't joke about that. That's my move. Like, I feel like it's a difference in saying, oh, I have a friend, just so you know, they're an atheist, but we're gonna go bowling, they're gonna be there. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, I can't go bowling because I'm filled with the Holy Ghost. It's like, I'm gonna go bowling, it's fine. But the minute you be like, nah, we're gonna go back to the crib and like summon some demons, it's like, no, thank you.
Disappear joint. We gotta put that in there. What to do? Just like.
I love that thing. At that point, I'm like, nah, we don't mesh. You know, so I feel like if it comes down to that, you know, you just keep them as far away from your inner peace as possible. But people who believe like you, yeah, we can definitely sit down and talk about the word, sit down and talk about direction for our lives and the Holy Ghost, because you understand.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Holy Ghost. You got all that, Holy Ghost.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Malaika. Stay tuned for the next episode because we're going to have a part 2 of this episode that we're releasing as bonus content, and we don't want you guys to miss out.